Number 10. After a dozen amazing movies, this was the one that Denzel Washington finally won an Oscar for. Really, aside from the fact that this rehash plot is nothing close to original, it feels like this movie received the attention it did because Denzel played a bad guy and that was out of character. This had the same effect that Wayne Brady as a psycho did for The Chappelle's Show. It might be wildly popular because it's out of character, but that doesn't mean the movie was that good. In fact, it was very average, at best. Number 9. This is anything but an awful film. Indeed, it's very acceptable and unquestionably engaging, yet for all the publicity that this film got, it certainly qualifies as exaggerated. This film is on the IMDb Top 250 rundown, however the exchange isn't excessively noteworthy, and just an antecedent to MASH fiction, which is vastly improved. And a ton of this film depends on stunts, like the non-sequential request and flashbacks, which are utilized as style decisions to shroud plot inadequacies. This is a decent film. However, it's not really a best 200 ever. Number 8. Whales. Whales can associate with obscure outsiders who are totally relentless, and are the main species who can spare Earth, compelling time travel to 1980s America. A goofy film with a plot that flawed doesn't start to portray "Let this one kick the bucket" unobtrusively, bring back Khan. Number 7. It seems like everybody adores this film, yet indeed this film is misrepresented. It's moderate, and sets aside a long effort to happen with irregular alarms. A genuinely keen film, yet not overwhelmingly splendid. The same number of guarantee, with a truly fair contort, yet the equilibrium simply isn't right. Excessively long and exhausting, with a turn finishing that, while nice, was really not difficult to sort out from the get-go in the film. The completion arrangement is amazing. However, like numerous other misrepresented movies, this is a nice film that took too long and forgot about its equilibrium. Number 6. A lot of Al Pacino movies are overrated, and it's not hard to argue that Pacino is consistently one of the most overrated actors in Hollywood. Look, he's screaming and cussing. I'd say again. But when did Pacino stop long enough to start up again? While this was a breakthrough film in the sense of violence, one has to wonder how this movie got its status. The F-word is used endlessly, so much for intelligent dialogue, the violence is way over the top, and there really aren't much better written drug, mafia, or violent movies. This film might be legendary, but it's hard to argue that this movie would still hold up if it was a brand new release. Number 5. Not in any event, going into the fantastic extending and negligence for verifiable truth this film delighted in. Remember that this was the film that kicked the butt of Sparing Private Ryan, Dull City, American History X, and The Big Lebowski, all around the entertainment ceremonies. Yet Let It Out 9 out of 10 had totally overlooked that this film had ever even existed until it just showed up on this rundown. After 10 years, and this current film's rivals will be associated with years or even a very long time to come. While this film made its romantic comedy sprinkle and afterward immediately vanished once the following one came out. Number 4. Alright, even with conceding that 2002 was a down year for films, is that actually a reason for Chicago to win Best Picture? This was an engaging picture, however, Best Picture. Really? The Pianist, Igby Goes Down, Posses of New York, and The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers were all phenomenal films. And it's difficult to acknowledge that Chicago was the best of the yield here. This film was fun in the event that you like a melodic, yet it's not really a Best Picture. Number 3. Another long, total hackneyed sentimental romantic comedy. Aside from Sweethearts went so nuts over this one that it broke records for cash, got over a crazy multi-month theater running. This film is the greatest moneymaker ever. Truly. Titanic was a long and exhausting drama without great acting, level cardboard characters, and the unsurpassed banality of a deplorable romantic tale between two star-crossed darlings. This is one of the most exaggerated movies ever, and you could even present a defense for this one as number one. Then again, actually there are sufficient individuals who concur with this evaluation to cut it down the misrepresented rundown. Number 2. There were areas of this film that were silly, yet there were twice the same number of that weren't amusing in any way. Far more detestable, as any late-night store assistant can confirm. These sorts of occupations give huge loads of interesting and strange stories that might have been utilized in this film, however were scarcely even contacted. Rather settling on a ton of cussing and unequivocal sex jokes. Different parts, similar to Jay cussing everybody up, simply aren't unreasonably clever. This was a noteworthy free film, yet nothing that ought to have accomplished the close to epic status it appreciates. Number 1. Any individual who isn't overwhelmed by Star Force will recognize the truth about this, a dismal, exhausting film that doesn't do Heart of Darkness any equity. This was appallingly acted, unnatural, and by one way or another figured out how to be absurdly over-emotional with no show. However, this film is generally viewed as one of the 100 best ever and is praised for its star power. End of the World Now is horribly misrepresented, and is on the first spot on this list to act as an illustration of an awful film that is praised for its status over the film itself.